Welcome to globalinvestorradio.com, just covering some stocks today in the medical drug sector in America. And the first couple of stocks I just wanted to show you lead on from the Ted Warren Investilator Part 2 video, just for an example of how an accumulation, markup, distribution and markdown works in terms of a single scenario instead of lots of mini different scenarios, mini phases. And this was a great example of an accumulation period, markup, distribution and markdown. And this stock as well, great accumulation, draw a line along the markup, another consolidation level, huge spurts up. Here would have probably knocked us out of the market with these spikes down because it would have cut into the trend line, the 45-degree trend line. But here we can see huge amounts of distribution. This stock, this ticker symbol here, BIOD, is quite a new listing. It's only been out for around 4 years. You can see it hasn't had too much accumulation action. It had a nice spurt upwards, perhaps tricking people to think the move was underway, and it's come back down again, testing people's patience. If this market flattens out here and the $2 level, the pivotal point level holds, and it looks to be accumulating, I will consider a purchase. This stock here will be going on the watch list, ticker symbol BIOD. Ticker symbol NVGN. Great looking downtrend here, broken, multi-year downtrend. This little bit of accumulation action here, spike up. They hadn't accumulated enough contracts in terms of derivatives or stocks in terms of the actual physical market. Here we can see decent accumulation, another spike up. Is this the second level where it's going to move higher? It may well do from here. I've been purchasing I've been purchasing a few shares in this area in the last 3 or 4 months, and it looks to be moving higher. If it breaks the $10 level, I'll consider another purchase, but I'm a little bit apprehensive that the market will come back down again and reaccumulate. But it looks to be developing into a good base. A lot of these pharmaceutical stocks are pretty wild, you know, from 1 5-year period to being the best thing since sliced bread to the next 5 years being an absolute dog. So you've got to be very careful that you don't hold on to these stocks too long once they rise. But this stock is looking to be developing into a great looking base. Ticker symbol QLTI. We look beginnings of a head and shoulders here. Here's the shoulder, here's the head, and it looks to me as if this market has shaken out and it's testing people's patience here. Now I would say to people to look at this from an angle of being patient. This could take another 6 months or a year. Once it breaks this consolidation level where I'm drawing my mouse at around the $9, $8.90 level in the future, that will be a good signal that this is broken out on the upside. But it looks to be developing good base action. From here it's on the watch list, and it's looking, I would summarize that in the next 6 months this will develop into quite a bullish market, but only time will tell. Ticker symbol SGYP, again a great looking downtrend, broken, not really long enough on the accumulation. The weekly chart, the 5 years, very tight, only $1 parameters, and we can see here a move from 3 to 7. I don't really like to see that during the base. I like to see a lot more accumulation first. So this market, you know, I'm not fully entrusted of it yet. I'd like to see more accumulation. If it breaks the pivotal point here around 4, we could see it dip down to make a triple bottom at 3. But I would suspect at some point in the next year or so that it will reaccumulate and start its upward move. It's just another one that will have to go onto the watch list for now. CYAN. This is the monthly chart, $5 parameters. You can see it's had a lot of broken downtrends here, moved sideways with good accumulation. It's taken an age to move up. It did have a decent move up, and it's had a shakeout now, a markdown, and it looks to be reaccumulating at these levels for another move upwards. And I would summarise that the next move up would be around the $15 level. But again, I would like to see it break this mini consolidation here where my mouse is, and also here as well with this. Once it does that, I'll feel more confident about buying into the market. But this market does give me confidence because of the accumulation that's gone on before, and I don't believe these spikes, the sponsors, the guiders, have sold out what they've accumulated at these lower levels. So I believe this stock will be going up for another run up at some point in the next year. Ticker symbol BSPM. Again, quite a new listing here. I like these new listings. They quite often don't need to accumulate as long as stocks that have been listed a long time. This market has had a broken downtrend, nice curve action, and it looks to be accumulating here. Again, not really that longer action to feel that confident about, but with these new stocks, they do tend to take off at these lower levels without too much accumulation. So I would suspect in the next 6 months to a year we'll see this easily move up to $3 or $4. But again, you have to be on the watch for a downside move again to test these low areas here. I would say the probabilities are around 65 to 70% that this will keep on going up. But again, you have to bear in mind the downside. Ticker symbol CPIX. This action here I wouldn't really consider accumulation because of the spikes. When it comes down, it tends to spike up quite a lot. It hasn't really spent any decent amount of time accumulating, although it did have a few months. They've dropped the market down to release some more stock, and they've tried to reaccumulate at these levels here. Now the market's showing signs of dullness compared to this action here, which is a good sign. When you see the market getting tighter, the price action, usually we see an explosive move upwards from here. If I draw a line from here all the way down, this action looks to signify that it's broken that downtrend. We could see it further consolidate and accumulate, but I would suspect that this market is building the power to at least to go to around the $7 to $8 level in the next year or so, and it could go much higher. MSLI, big long-term base here with some action, some distribution action, some moves down, really testing the patience of investors. This accumulation action here looked great. The market moved up for a second level consolidation phase. For whatever reason, they couldn't garner a following in this stock, and they've had to drop it down again to reaccumulate more shares, to neg more people out, to shake some of the longer term holders out, and perhaps they've done that now, and it looks to have broken this gradual downtrend here, which is a very positive signal. I would say this market's got the power to easily go to $5 to $10 in the next couple of years, and we should see a large move develop out of this space. I've been accumulating small positions in this market. Once it breaks, if you look where my mouse is here, this long consolidation, once it breaks that on the upside, I'll look to buy more. VTUS. If you draw a line from the top all the way down, it's broken that downtrend with this action here. It looks to have had some nice accumulation action here where my mouse is, and here too. It hasn't been a tremendous amount of time accumulating, that's why you can't really judge this move, but again, it's quite a new stock here that we're dealing with. When you're dealing with new stocks, they do tend to take off, especially in the pharmaceutical sector, which is wild. And this move looks to be shaping up quite nicely. If you draw a line here, if it breaks that on the downside, we could see it test $2 again, coming down for a multi-year triple bottom, and that would be a good signal. Once it breaks on the upside from $2 upwards, that would be a good buy point. If it does break this mini downtrend here on the upside at around the $3 level, then that will signal for me to go into the market, and perhaps the move will begin. But this move, once it gets going, should have the potential to go to around $5 to $6 at least. Ticker symbol NBY. You can see here on the monthly broken downtrend, It's developed into a bit of a triangle formation. Sometimes from these triangle formations, they're not great accumulation action as we see with the base where they go sideways for a long time, but moves of 100 to 200% quite often develop out of these triangles. So moving from say 160 to around $4 is quite possible from here with the power that it's developing here, but again, I don't really fully trust these moves, and I'd only go in with a small amount of money. MEIP, great looking base action here on the 5-year weekly. And if you draw lines, long-term downtrends being broken, gradual downtrends being broken as well. If you draw a line where my mouse is here, great looking accumulation action here with the gradual downtrend as well. I love a good gradual downtrend whenever they break upwards, and it looks to be moving higher from here, but again it could muck around and test people's patience with a move back down to 5. I would summarize that within a couple of years this market will at least be at the $20 level, and it could do that a lot sooner. But again, these pharmaceutical stocks, when they do take off, they tend to be very explosive and take off quickly. So always look out for distribution. It could go in, say, a year's time, but once you start seeing moves like this, or moves like this, that signifies distribution in comparison to a couple of years back when the price action was very tight. So you can see where the price action's tight and where it's not tight, and it looks to be a little untight here, but it doesn't look to me like any significant distribution has taken place. So the people that have accumulated here and here still hold contracts, I'm sure, and they have to distribute, and the only way they're going to distribute into the market is if they move the price higher and induce the public to buy. And once it starts moving up to 15 or 20, it should get a decent public following, and they can start distributing into the upward rising market. ALXA, monthly stock here, great looking accumulation action, not a tremendous amount of time, maybe another 6 months would be good, just to give us more confidence in the foundation that was being built, but it has broken down trends, and even some gradual downtrends it's broken, which are positive signals, and the volume's tapered off as well, and it's a very dull market in comparison to the past. I have been accumulating small positions in this, but again I'd feel a lot more confident if I could see another, say, 6 months worth of accumulation. I'd say once it breaks the $7 to $8 level and then the $10 level, the uptrend will begin. We could easily see this market move up to the $20 level from where it is now. SIGA, not enough here on the accumulation. It's a very tight weekly chart, only dollar parameter. So we are seeing spikes up here, even though it's on a dollar chart. If it was on a $5 chart, this would look extremely tight, this action. And if you count this as one step, where my mouse is, one step, and this is the second step, if it breaks below the $3 on the downside, we could see it test 2 again and use that as a pivotal point at around the $2.80 level. Jesse Livermore used to use those types of pivotal points. And on the upside, we can see it breaking a few trends, but if it goes from, say, $4 and closes above that for a couple of weeks, I'd be a lot more confident that the uptrend has begun. We'll just have to see how this one develops. It's on the watch list for now. PRPH, good looking monthly here, great curve action. That curve action's always proved very powerful in the past, and it looks to have had a decent amount of accumulation with a lot of sponsors, guiders, picking up contracts during the 2011 sell-off. It didn't really sell off with the main market, but I'm sure a lot of people got rid of their stock, especially after this multi-year downtrend as well. And a lot of smart investors picked this stock up and have been gradually pushing the price higher as the supply becomes tighter. But once it breaks the $2 level, I would suspect that this market will move quite quickly up to maybe around $4 to $6, and it could be a large move that develops out of this. But looking very positive for the future. But again, you have to be patient with these moves. It could be another 6 months before this market takes off. It could be another 2 weeks. I just don't know the exact timing of when it's going to move up. But by the looks of the positions that have been accumulated here by the sponsors, it looks to be a very powerful move that's in the offing, and I'll be ready for it when it does happen. NBIX, massive downtrend here, $70 all the way down to around the $2.50 mark, and that just shows you the importance of not being greedy and getting out of a stock. When you see these types of wild volatile swings, you just never know how long the market's going to be up there for, and it's better to go and look for a stock that's accumulating with a nice tight price action, like here, tight price action. That's what you're looking for. And this stock here was just a huge downtrend. Anyone that held this that was a member of the public probably here was hoping that they may recoup some of their losses, and it's dipped down to a new level. It's really negged them out now, and I suspect the people that picked up a lot of stock here did so from a lot of disgruntled public holders of the stock that bought around these spikes that enticed them into buying. So a lot of support has come to the market here, and maybe they've accumulated the positions they need, maybe they haven't, maybe it's going to take another year or so for this market to move up, but this looks like a great little shakeout. I love to see a shakeout after it breaks out of its consolidation area. If you draw a line where my mouse is, and then draw a line down, a nice flat top triangle breaking out of an accumulation multi-year area, and off the uptrend begins, and then all of a sudden the uptrend has been halted, and people that thought the market was going up have now been shocked into thinking, well, perhaps I was wrong. And this just looks like a shakeout to scare people, but we'll have to wait and see. It may come back down to the $5 level area. I've been buying here at the back end of 2012. I'm holding on to my positions as I've bought in at a very good price, but once this starts flattening out here at around the $10 level, I'll be buying into more, and once it breaks out on the upside again above the $10 level and 15, I'll be buying more. But again, it's better to wait for the price action to confirm the signal instead of getting blindly obsessed with a stock. Things do go wrong occasionally, nothing's infallible, so you don't want to be putting all your eggs into one basket. CBRX, strange looking stock here, huge spikes on the monthly where my mouse is, going from $20 up to 130 and then collapsing back down to 20. Huge speculation going on for a while in this stock, and it's simmered down a lot compared to the past. And this action here signified that the market has become dull and boring, and I would suspect that an upward action at least to around the $20 price is going to happen. Sometimes stocks like this could be heading for bankruptcy. These spikes enable the long-term holders of the stock to distribute their holdings before the stock collapses. You just have to watch and see, but this accumulation action here has given me confidence that we're going to at least see a move up to $20, perhaps 25, another spike, and who knows, it could be much higher. But if you wait for the 45-degree trend line to be your signal of when to sell a stock, if you use that as an example here, 45-degree trend line, or follow the upward trend, you'd have been sold out about here. So when this market does move up, you follow the upward trend, and when it does start becoming a bit more volatile, a bit wilder price swings, and you see it break that upward trend, sometimes it's a false signal. It breaks the upward trend and then a couple of months later rockets up to new highs. And I'll just move my mouse over to here just to show you that. But it's better to take a very decent profit rather than try and walk into the unknown. And missing a move like that has to be done to play the game safely, and that's one of the biggest flaws of the public, is that they don't play the game safely. CTIC, great looking chart here, fantastic 5-year weekly. As it dips down, you can see the market, the curve action coming in, and this looks to be great accumulation action here, little bit of accumulation action here. Obviously they couldn't secure the contracts they needed, but again, I would like to see a little bit more of the accumulation coming along, just to be 100% certain. I have accumulated some positions here as it broke the gradual downtrend, and if it breaks another pivotal point where my mouse is here, I'll buy some more, and around the $7 mark as well, and follow it up. But if you look at the volume, it's tapered off and it's pretty much died a death. And here it is on the monthly, and you can see if you own this stock in the past and you'd have held one share and it was valued at around $92,500, and then the huge downtrend in 2002, it came down all the way to 5,000, and then it's come all the way down to $1. I mean, it just shows you what a scam some companies are. How can it go from being worth this much to this much, in a couple of years? And that's why there is a lot of scamming that goes on with these listed stocks. But you can see the downtrends being broken. Massive, huge parameters here, but as you saw on the 5-year weekly, this little bit of action here is signifying that there is some support now coming to the market. I'm sure this stock holds a lot of bad memories for some people, but don't let that hold you back with new opportunities. Okay, part 2 of the medical drug sector is coming up in the next couple of hours. Take care, and over and out for now. Bye for now.